All right, guys, today I want to talk to you about a new concept that's emerging because of OpenAI's new agent builder. I've been scraping in Make for a long time. I have many scenarios like this. If you've been scraping, I'm sure you've used Appify. There's a whole Appify store, and there's like all these different scrapers. I'll just get out of your way. And basically, now we can go from programmatic scraping, which is like, fixed logic, to agentic scraping, where I can go in steps and dictate it and get basically a whole new world of possibilities. So I want to dive into that. I want to dive into why this is different, what's possible, and why this is such a big deal, and sort of carve out a path for you, right? So first, I want to go through the difference between programmatic scraping versus agentic scraping, right? Um, so I'm going to first show you examples, and then I'm going to go into a deep dive into the differences and what this means for the future. So here's programmatic scraping, right? I, I created this Google Maps scraping. I loaded this actor. There's different scraping actors within the Appify store, right? And it scrapes Google Maps. I tell it the sort of the parameters, the criteria. I say like I'm gonna search marketing agencies in New Jersey, right? And I give me back three places, and that's pretty much it, right? And then get the dataset items from what's retrieved and give me the output, right? So let's run that and see what the output is. While that's happening, I'm going to explain the agent builder, right? So this is going to give me, oh, well, okay, right here. So I'm going to get back three bundles, one, two, three, okay, of three locations, three marketing agencies in New Jersey. So we have Responsive Marketing Agency. This is their phone number, or this, and a few other details. Same with these other two agencies, high exposure, aerial advertising. Okay. Now I'm going to do the same thing, but with a text to workflow sort of vibe automation type of thing. I don't know if this is technically called automation, but it's like text to workflow within the prompt because it has access to these tools via the Zapier MCP, which is really amazing, right? So again, this allows me to sort of chat with the tools that Zapier MCP has provided me through this agent. So then I basically specify the tools just like here, but instead of programmatic, I'm just giving it to the agent so that it can sort of do things, open new possibilities. I'll show you what I mean by that, right? So first, let's kind of match the output, right? So I'm just going to say, give me the output. Really, it's the same thing I brought in here, but just agentically, right? Now, this does take some time. So there is a sort of downside here. Like imagine you have a user who, gives very specific input to get the output from scraping. That does take time, but there's ways to reduce it, depending on the model, and, the reasoning, if it's going to be low reasoning, medium reasoning. So, you have to play around with that. But I think as, Sam Altman says, like you have to sort of see the value of what's being generated. And, for really valuable outputs, it's fine to, take some time, because, just like the deep research agent. So anyways, this is a downside though, I feel. But okay, so so it got the dataset ID just like node one, and it's going to pass that to the second step agentically, right? And I got the exact output, right? So we have Responsive Marketing Agency. I don't know if you remember high exposure aerial advertising, the phone number, the website. Let's see if it matches fully. So phone number is 609-861-4111. Okay, so it does match exactly, right? And again, now what's different here? Rather than me programming this, right? Like notice the user doesn't have the ability to change this, right? Maybe via like a variable, but that's very limited, right? But notice what's possible if we do it agentically, right? And then also, okay, so here, I'm going to go into the prompt. Let's expand this. Okay, so basically, I'm sort of doing the same thing, but agentically. So first, let's understand this. And I'm going to get into multi-step reasoning later on, but for now, you can just kind of intuitively understand. We're going in different steps here. So step one, you're going to take the Appify run actor, right? Appify run actor, and you're going to take the ID, just like, the ID of the actor. You can get that from Appify. Run this, send this to the Google scraping agent, get the default dataset ID, pass that to the dataset ID or name. This is a specific sort of node, tool in this case, to get the dataset items. And then you're going to get a long JSON output. To get a clean version, you have to say from that JSON output, what do you really want? Which is, okay, I just want the agency name and phone number, right? So it can do all that. But now let's get into what's really possible here, right? By going into the differences and seeing really what's possible here. So I sort of created like a table here to sort of explain the differences between agentic scraping and programmatic scraping. As you see in Make, I'm doing programmatic. In OpenAI's new agent builder, I'm doing agentic scraping. So again, new doors open up here. And why? Because the user can change the program that gets the output. In programmatic scraping, like in Make, I have to build it manually and it just runs. But here in agentic, like the user can say, for example, I'm looking for veg, like VG restaurants, where I live, and it can then like figure out where you live, and turn VG into vegetarian restaurants to get a clean search query that goes in here. So vegetarian restaurants, New Jersey, and based on what you say, like if you say like, I really want to find a great restaurant, so it's not just a good restaurant. A great restaurant will increase the number of places from maybe 5 to like maybe from 20 to 200 to really get a good one. So it's going to automatically change the program from 20, like here, 20 to 200 based on the user's query. So you can really change the program that gets the output to get really customized output, right? What else can we change? Based on the user's input, it can change step 3. What is output exactly? Like if the user really wants to make sure it's a good restaurant, maybe it pulls in some reviews also. Maybe the user's traveling to a different country like Italy, and it also wants an available Airbnb. So then you give it the Airbnb actor, and then it only gets activated when the user sort of indicates that by intent, right? So that sort of gives you some more ideas here of what really the power of this is. So again, user can change the program. That's a big thing. Versus in programmatic, you have to build each node manually. Here, the system understands the goal, right? The agent is a system, and based on the user's query, like I made it very basic, but you can really get advanced user input, and it understands the goal and delivers that based on the context that it has here, right? Versus in programmatic, the system doesn't understand. I mean, it doesn't understand the goal. That's one thing, and it gives often a very specific set of output within the goal. Okay, in agentic scraping, I said this before, but you can get custom, deeply personalized goal achievement based on the user's input. Just like I said with the vegetarian restaurant, Italy, all that stuff, right? It can choose the best tools. It can choose the best steps, change the input JSON and all that kind of stuff, the program. In this case, in programmatic, again, just as a reminder, this is programmatic, right? The user can't agentically change the program. It can change some components, like maybe the variables, certain variables, but again, that's very limited. And when you start building these out, you're going to see how limited this was. Okay. I'm going to get back to this. This is a bit more complex, so we'll get into that. We did cover some of this, just to go over some of these smaller points, but still very important. And I'm going to show you why this is really a new opportunity for you to make money, for you to help businesses make more products that are unique. So again, who has the most control here in programmatic? Me. In programmatic, as a programmer, I made this. User has limited control. Okay. In agentic, right, I give the context for the user to play and really get what they want. So the user has control here, as well as the agent, because the agent is sort of doing a lot of this, right? Adaptability is high in agentic scraping, because again, the agent can select from various tools. You can give it a super prompt, and I'm going to get into that. That's really powerful. But it can choose the best tool for maybe 10, 20, 100 tools, different scrapers, and it could choose the best scraper based on the user's input. It could choose the best steps to, okay, this scraper, then this scraper, and then I'm going to get this and that. So adaptability is high. Here, adaptability is low, right? Adaptive UI. OpenAI released the Widget Studio, Widget Studio here, so I can add this in to my scraping agents, and this really, it takes something that's already new because of the scraping agent capabilities with the Zapier MCP, and just really delivers massive value, to really be a purple cow here. Okay, again, not really adaptive UI with programmatic scraping. Only problem right now is here in agentic scraping, there's no triggers. Like I can't trigger every 6 hours for this to run, right? My understanding from a lot of my research is that within the next few months, OpenAI could likely, I can't like say with any promise, they could likely release scheduling and triggers. So that like, okay, every 6 hours it's running this and stuff like that. But for chat agents, this is still a new opportunity that's not possible. Like for example, in Make. Yeah, so very powerful still, and I believe scheduling is coming, right? And then lastly, I want to go over this opportunity right here. We'll sort of end it on the opportunity. So here, the main point I'm trying to make here is there's an opportunity for super prompts. Super prompts was coined by this guy named Brian. He showed up on what's his name? JP. They call him JP. I forgot his full name. His podcast or something, and basically he talks about super prompts, like these really advanced prompts that OpenAI that ChatGPT can use to get really advanced outputs, right? So imagine you gave it a really advanced super prompt with 20 different actors. I'm going to show you the Appify store. Imagine you give it the Google Maps scraper, the ID, the documentation, the website content crawl. These are some of the most popular ones, right? And the more popular they are, the more use cases there are. And when you combine them in the prompt, you get so many different possibilities. Tweet scraping, Instagram scraping. So imagine you just give it 20, right? With the documentation, the ID, and then it, based on the user input, it knows what sort of steps to execute. And it changes the program. Again, like we discussed, I'm reiterating just because it's so powerful. The opportunity is big here, right? And just to give you an example, okay, well, I kind of already gave this, but another example doesn't hurt, right? So it can go on the Airbnb. It can go on Airbnb through the Airbnb scraper, find an available apartment. Okay, so based on the user input, so it says something very vague. It takes that abstract user input and gets a very clear search query for the Airbnb scraper to get the available apartment that meets the criteria of the user input. So then it goes back to the user input, gets the available apartment, takes the address from the apartment, puts that into Google scraping, and then gets restaurants nearby that again meets the criteria, goes back to the user input, gives sort of like a full, I don't know if this is called an itinerary, but you get the point, right? A full sort of travel, I'll call this itinerary, like if someone's going on a 4-day vacation. And then you can even get events happening. And yeah, so again, this is not just helpful for like B2C products, but also B2B products. And I think real value lies there. We'll get more into that. So yeah, I hope this communicates just how powerful agentic scraping is. I would really encourage you to play around with this, see what you can come up with, what kind of super prompts you can come up with. I didn't even create a super prompt, but imagine if you did. So there's a link in the description. Basically, I want to teach agentic scraping. I really believe in it. I think there's a lot of potential here to help various businesses. So if you want to learn agentic scraping, if you want more videos like this, um, and you want to master agentic scraping, like we'll really get into mastery, perspectives, different frameworks for building various different agentic scrapers and literally mastering this, as well as the agent builder by OpenAI, then yeah, join it. It's free. So yeah, there's that. And then also, I'm going to be including the prompt here in the Skool group, this super prompt, right? Well, it's not super prompt yet, but we're going to get into more super prompts. But this can serve as a template so that you can use this and build your own scraping agents. And I'm going to also cover in some YouTube videos how to actually build some of these scraping agents. Okay.